nobody's talking vendor to vendor, and nobody's having those meetings with the dealer that says, look, I can show you the performance of my product is excellent, but let's talk about something really important, like, are your vendors and your people working as a team increasing market share?
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
I think as vendors, we do a good job in training, all right, on the activities that are required to actually execute the technology that we're providing, right? But it's the handoff between technologies that we just kind of leave the dealership to figure out on their own. And I'm seeing some of the most progressive vendors out there are figuring that one out. Okay, so it's like, all right, digital retailing, I'm working this. Now, at some point in time, they're going to call. All right. What's, so that's why I want to jam a little bit about that, guys. How do you guys think we can improve, the handoffs from marketing to DR to the call and then to the showroom? Like, there's all these little handoffs. And I think that's the point where I find it's like we could, with technology and process, we can provide this cool linear experience, and then we get to the handoff from one system to another. Okay, let me bring it back up. Let me bring it back up. But I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on how we can better the handoff.
Yeah. So one of the things that strikes me is that there are multiple vendors trying to serve a dealership and help them improve performance. But these vendors don't talk to each other very often.
Exactly.
I sold my deal. I got a contract.
I got my revenue.
My implementation team put it together, and we're going to have a meeting every 30 days and tell the dealer how wonderful they are for buying our product. But, nobody's talking vendor to vendor, and nobody's having those meetings with the dealer that says, look, I can show you the performance of my product is excellent. But let's talk about something really important, like, are your vendors and your people working as a team increasing market share?
Yeah, that's a great point, because usually even if you're, let's have a marketing meeting, let's bring in all of our marketing vendors into this meeting. The goal of that meeting should be how all of us can help the dealer. Yes. And what happens in these meetings I've seen is it ends up being, well, my product, your product, or we're arguing about budget, right? Yeah. And if you think of it, we're all working together, and I think we've gotten away from a single source of customer, right?
100%.
The customer is interacting with a TV ad, they see us on Facebook, they go to our website, they see our gorilla on top of the dealership. There is not a single source that said, oh, that was the reason that customer came in. So there should be this unity in regards to what we're doing, how are we doing, and it's a meeting where you might have to say, hey, this might not be the best for me, right? Or let's look at this process, and if you notice this jumping from back and forth, we as vendors should look at each other and say, well, how can we smoothline that process? Because ultimately it's affecting the dealer, which ultimately affects the customer, which are the priority over my tool or your tool. Because if they don't work, then they're going to cancel one of ours.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com.
100%.
Stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy
Otherwise,
podcasting.
it's not my fault.
Well, no, exactly.